Hey guys, Time in here. They will be starting a new series on the channel. I'm trying to do this maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, something like that. Cause I'm a big history guy, so it's gonna be called War Stories. So I'm just gonna be playing like Battlefield, Call of Duty, something like that, and then just commentate over with a story I've recently found out. Because the thing about war stories is there's a great level of bravery and courage that comes with most of these war stories, or just amazing feats by people. Today we'll be covering like the bravery side of war. Today we'll be talking about one of the most decorated men in history, Audie Murphy. Murphy was the seventh of 12 children born to Emmett Murphy and his wife, Josie Killian, in Kingston, Texas. They were sharecroppers, Irish descent. He was a loner as a child, mood swings, explosive temper. He had to drop out of school in the 5th grade for helping support his family, working for picking cotton for $1 a day, which would equate to $18 right now. When he was doing that, he also hunted game with a small rifle to help feed his family as well. So with that, he learned how to become a great shot and everything like that. And then after hunting so much with a rifle, he's like, yo, I'm trying to be in the army or military, anything like that. And then lo and behold, the Japanese attack Pearl Harbor, gives him the perfect reason to enlist. And then after that, they was like, hey, you're not 18 and you're also underweight. But then his sister lied on his birth certificate, said he was a year older than he was. So he got in. Even while just training, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure. I don't have it in my notes. I think this is what I was reading. It was he got a medal for just overall being a great shot in general while training. I could be completely wrong about that, but he's got so many medals. I could just probably make up a medal. He probably has it. But he got shipped off to the Mediterranean theater. Over there, he had 3 or 4 stuff going that he got a medal for. He was promoted to staff sergeant. During the first wave of the Allied invasion of southern France, he received a Distinguished Service Cross in the European theater. And this is a little quick side story before we get to the main meat story. This to just give you an insight of how wild this next story is going to be. After landing on the yellow beach near Ramatella, I think that's how you pronounce it, Murphy's platoon was making its way through a vineyard when the men were attacked by German soldiers. He received a machine gun that had been detached from one of the squads, returned fire on the German soldiers. Of course, he killed 2, wounded 1. So 2 soldiers came out and, surrendered. And then Murphy's best friend was like, hey, y'all surrendered. I see y'all actually, making a smart decision. Dude got shot, murked. So, of course, Murphy then advanced alone into the house under direct fire. He killed 6, wounded 2, and took 11 prisoner. My guy was not playing. So, then we get to the main story. January 26, 1945. Audie Murphy and some 40 U.S. troops sat shivering in a frigid, snow-covered clearing near Haltwire. I think that's how you pronounce it. They were holding off a vital roadway until reinforcements arrived. Just after 2 p.m., with just sitting there, it's pretty quiet, stillness. And it was interrupted by artillery. And in the distance, around 250 Germans and 6 tanks emerged from the woods. Murphy, of course, 40 men is not going to defeat 250 men, so he tells them all to go set defensive positions along the tree lines. Meanwhile, while that's going on, he's calling artillery on his little post. And as he's starting to call it in, a curtain of friendly fire rained down between him and the advancing German infantry, trying to give him time. But as he was calling it in, one of the German tanks shot a shell, immediately drilled a tree near a machine gun nest, and covered the crew in deadly splinters. And another tank got shot, and the tank was set ablaze. So the tank's about to blow up. So he's sitting beside a burning tank in a thing calling artillery. Of course, he ran behind the tank cover. And he's shooting his M1 carbine at the advancing Germans, trying to, give himself a little more time to call in the artillery. As the Germans started advancing closer and closer to him, he's sitting behind this tank, shot all of his ammo out of his M1 carbine, and the artillery commander asked how close the Germans were. So this man says, just hold the phone, I'll let you talk to one of them. And the tank he was behind was slowly being engulfed in flames. But Murphy saw on top of the tank the 50 cal. It was still operational. He quickly jumped up in the tank and started firing on Germans near his position. This was wrote in his autobiography. He said, "My numb brain is intent only on destroying." Sorry about that. I'm conscious only that smoke and the turret afford a good screen. And that, for the first time in 3 days, my feet are warm. He continued firing as he was just mowing down Nazi after Nazi, keeping the tanks at bay, all while he remained on the phone directing artillery fire ever closer to his own position, dealing damage to advancing infantry. So dude's on top of 50 cal of a burning tank, firing on many Germans advancing to him, while also calling in artillery and very, very close to him, trying to keep the Nazis from advancing to his troops in the back. Of course, you gotta remember, this tank was just hit by a tank shell not too long ago, so it's on fire, about to blow up. Even one of his people he was with, Private Anthony, said, "I expected to see the whole dang tank blow up under him any minute." In fact, it was crazy. The tank being on fire might have saved Murphy's life, because many of the Germans and tank commanders couldn't see him behind the veil of smoke and flames. And those that did resisted getting too close out of the fear that the vehicle was about to explode. So they weren't going to risk their lives, getting close to a vehicle that was going to explode to take him out. Other Germans that were further back couldn't see him through the fire and flames. Of course, despite the hail of artillery shells from Allies, more Germans started inching closer and closer to his position. One squad even tried to flank him, but only be cut down by his 50 cal hellfire. As Murphy continued, he was a one-man army taking on the entire Germans as his allied friends were, trying to help as much as they can. But when you got a guy like that, you just gotta let him go. Let him do his thing. Of course, one of the German gunners started riddling the tank with small arms and tank fire. One blast threw him from the vehicle and sent razor-sharp shrapnel flying into his leg. But he took no account of the wound and kept fighting because he was so pumped up on adrenaline at this point. It was only till he ran out of ammunition that he finally jumped out of the tank, dazed and bloodied, limped to his men. And he wrote down this also in his autobiography. As he was doing this, he wrote, "How come I'm not dead?" as he kept thinking to himself as he was limping back to his men. Of course, you expect him to be like, "Alright, y'all, I did my part. I'm gonna see y'all later. I'm gonna go, get healed up real quick, But, of course, no. He sat there, rallied his men, and led a counterattack that drove the Germans back into the woods. This man's crazy. I don't know how he wasn't dead. I'm pretty sure every man he was with thought that also. One man even wrote, "That was the greatest display of guts and courage I'd ever seen." For an hour, he held off the enemy forces single-handedly, fighting against impossible odds. He killed about 50 men, and direct artillery killed about a dozen more. Even after reaching safety, dude ran back to the Germans and drove them back. That's crazy. Of course, after this story got out, after he got healed and officers told, and they told the people back in America, dude got praised as a hero. And of course, they didn't want dude to go back in the field and die after one of the greatest heroes, one of the greatest stories came out about him holding the Germans back. So they promoted him to an officer and kept him out of the field to try to keep him from, getting killed, or I was gonna say getting died. getting killed or getting sick. Well, it was even crazy. He even caught, like, I think it was 3 illnesses while he was just sitting back there being an officer, trying to keep him out of combat. Of course, he was like a celebrity at this point. So, until he returned back in June 1945, he got a huge parade. Reporters swarmed this dude. He even later took his talents to Hollywood, where he forged a film career that included more than 40 credits, most of them in Western and war films. His most famous role came from a movie he played, starring himself actually, To Hell and Back. It's a blockbuster adaptation of his own memoir about World War II and the stuff he'd been through and stuff like that. It's a pretty old movie. It would actually won probably movie of the year or whatever, but Jaws also came out that kind of, overshadowed it. Which, it's understandable that Jaws beat your movie out. You can't do much about that. But if you want to look up more about this dude, it's crazy. I can barely cover most of the stuff. Like, that was 1-2 stories, me giving brief recaps on everything else. And this was, 12 minutes in, 11 minutes in? Like, if I covered everything, we'd be here for about 25 minutes. Man, dude's crazy. Not like crazy good, not like crazy, but he's a little crazy too also for, doing all this. But yeah, I know the gameplay in the background is nothing to compare to what you could visualize what this dude did. Because dude, took a 250. I can barely take on 3 dudes in this gameplay. I need to get like him. But yeah, dude, Audie Murphy, you'll never look him up. You can go watch the movie he did. It's a pretty old movie, but I never watched it. I might actually go watch it after this just to get more information on dude. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing this series maybe, as I said, once a week or every other week, because I really enjoy history. I hope y'all do too. So I'm just not making this for myself, basically. This if you ever look up more about him, you can read more about the Mediterranean theater that he did that I really didn't get to cover, and there's some stuff in the European theater that I didn't cover. This was just one instant, which is the most famous one. So if you ever want to look up more on Audie Murphy, just go ahead. He's you can go to his Wikipedia, his autobiography, the movie, of course, as I said. So yeah, that was War Stories. If you probably know where I get the series from, Frankie on PC and 1080p. Great dude. Sadly, he hasn't been uploading, so I figured, I'm gonna continue for the war buffs out there that wants to continue hearing about war, stuff like that. So of course, thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate y'all, and of course, keep out. I'll probably get one out next week. Yeah, next week. I don't know what day. I haven't really got a set schedule for everything I'm doing right now, but next week, I should probably have another one of these out. I'm trying to look for stuff with tanks, because not many good stories about tanks come out. But yeah, this was Time Man. I appreciate y'all for watching, of course, and hope y'all have a good day. Peace out.